This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your wages are being garnished. We can stop that now. It's hard enough to pay your bills when things are good, let alone when a big chunk of your take-home pay is gone before you even get your check. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne, and I can stop the garnishment and get the creditors off your back immediately, often the same day as our consultation. Both Chapter 7 and 13 provide bankruptcy relief, but choosing the right chapter is crucial. In a free consultation, we can create a plan to get your finances back under your control. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Hey, we got new KISW merch that you got to check out just in time for hockey.
Oh, yes.
It's all about the hockey.
So even if the team loses, you look like a winner.
Yeah. That's what it is. Oh, you're right about that. Because we got that new hockey-inspired rock beanie, which you need because it's damn cold, even though it's getting warmer. But, man, it was cold.
It's still cold,
You wish you would have had that beanie.
Cold is cold.
Yeah, I'll take 40s, though, man. I will take 40s over this 20-degree crap.
Yeah.
And how about the rock T-shirt, which is the hockey rock T-shirt? That I really love. That's a sweet-looking tee. And, you know, you can get it right now. You don't have to wait. You can go to the Rock Shop, get yours today at KISW.com.
Let's play Beat Migs. It's time to play the game. Yeah. So everybody scream his name. Beat Migs. Don't be a loser. Whoa. Beat Migs. You're a loser.
It is time for Beat Migs. And it's time to pump it up for Monday. Oh, yeah, buddy. Pump it up. Pump it up for 2022.
2020.
Which
2022.
a couple of friends of ours decided that 2022 is too long, so we're just calling it Deuces this year.
Deuces.
Yes.
Okay.
In honor of Antonio Brown. Deuces!
Well, then we have to take our shirts off all year.
All right, I can do that if I want. All right, fine. I won't. Let's get to our contestant today. We've got Adam in Shelton. Adam, are you there?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Adam. All right, Steve, get out of
Adam.
here. Get out. For those playing at home, Adam will have 60 seconds to answer 10 questions. Adam, you can pass all you want, but you will only get 3 guesses per question. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Which U.S. state has shoreline along the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean?
Florida.
Yes. Nick Cannon divorced which singer in 2016?
Mariah Carey.
Yes. In what sport is the Cy Young Award awarded?
Baseball.
Yes. Who had the mid-'80s hit song When Doves Cry?
Seal.
No.
Prince.
Yes. Cavity Sam was the patient/mascot for what board game?
Pass.
Al Franken was
Operation.
Yes. Al Franken was a senator from which state?
Iowa, Mississippi,
No.
Massachusetts.
No. In Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, what is Juliet's surname?
Capriel.
No.
Pass.
What is the lowest hand that beats a straight in poker?
Flush.
Yes. Which river did Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn sail down?
Mississippi.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Correct.
Not a bad showing. Not a bad showing.
Yeah, no, enough to give let Danny give the little whoop whoop for him out there.
Oh, Danny got a whoop whoop for him.
Yeah,
I
got a whoop whoop.
Oh, all right. That's
trying to
a
get
hell of a showing if you get a...
He's trying to get pumped up for Monday for deuces.
You know, Steve even might get a whoop whoop. We'll see how he does though.
Wow. If you do well, Steve, Danny will give you a whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
Exactly.
All right.
Are
we talking about a woot woot with a T or a whoop whoop with a P?
Well, it depends. Do you like insane clown posse or not?
All right. Good point.
Are you ready, Steve?
Whoop whoop.
Which U.S. state has shoreline along the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean?
I'm going to go with New Mexico.
No.
Florida?
Okay, then.
Yes. Nick Cannon divorced from what singer in 2016?
Oh, our Christmas angel, Mariah Carey.
Yes. In what sport is the Cy Young Award awarded?
Baseball.
Yes. Who had the mid-'80s hit song When Doves Cry?
Prince.
Yes.
Doves Cry.
Cavity Sam was the patient/mascot for what board game?
Operation.
Yes. Al Franken was a senator for which state?
Vermont.
No.
Oh, crap. New York?
No.
I thought it was Vermont. Virginia?
No. In Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet was in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. What is Juliet's surname?
Starks.
No.
Targaryen.
No.
Wow.
Donatello.
No. What is the lowest hand that can beat a straight in poker?
Deuces.
No.
Aces.
No.
1.
No. Wow. It fell.
Unbelievable.
You did so well.
Yeah.
And then everything fell apart. You lose 7-5.
Oh, no.
Congrats, Adam.
Work, Adam.
Welcome to Deuces with the loss,
Adam,
Steve.
congrats, buddy.
I've not won in 2022.
No, you haven't. You're the reverse Seahawks is what you are.
Welcome to Deuces, guys.
Welcome to Deuces and welcome to this.
Nice. There we go. Yeah, buddy. I'll get you pumped.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good Deuces.
No, it's not. It's off to a terrible start. PJ.
Does anybody want to fashion a guess which state Al Franken was a senator for?
Was it Minnesota?
Yes, it was.
I don't know. I was so convinced it was Vermont, and that threw the rest of my game off.
The entire game was over at that
It
point.
was. I thought
Think about that.
everything I've lived was a lie.
Minnesota is where you want to go if you're. Minnesota's where you want to go if you're, if you're a former entertainer or want to be a politician, because Jesse the Body was the governor of Minnesota.
That's right.
Yeah. Does anybody happen to know Juliet's surname in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet?
Bonaparte?
Capulet.
Capulet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So who was Montague? Was that Romeo?
Yes.
Romeo.
Yeah, it was the Montagues and the Capulets.
God, I did not remember the Capulets at all, so I would have been half wrong.
Well, yeah. And then the lowest hand that beats a straight in poker, Adam got corrected, is a flush.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Just like
I did to the game.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Sorry for your loss, buddy.
Yeah, you did flush the deuces, buddy. Nice effort.
Dude, I got a text. I forgot to mention this, and I thought it was pretty cool during involving the Kraken. Obviously, we were talking about that great story with that lady Nadia that ended up saving the equipment manager's life by noticing a cancerous mole. But the other cool story that happened while we were gone was the Kraken have hired the organist from Slapshot, the movie, to be the organ player at Kraken games.
Nice. What?
I don't know if you saw this, dude. It's been.
I did not see this story.
Blew my mind.
Which made sense because when I went to the home opener and in other games, they would show a random video of the old iconic organ player from the movie Slapshot, the hockey movie, on the twin screens at the Kraken games. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, it turns out he lives in Edmonds, and he reached out to the team. He's like, hey, I live in Edmonds. I'm retired. If you ever want to do anything. And so they reached out to him and brought him in, and now he's playing the organ at the games.
That's unbelievable.
How cool is that? I don't know if he's going to be at every game, but he's going to be probably at a bunch. He's up in like the press booth with an organ, and just at one point he put a helmet on, kind of like from the scene from the movie Slapshot, and he even played Lady of Spain, which like the funny part of the movie Slapshot where the organ player plays and one of the guys gets mad about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool relate.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, and the crowd reacted great because I was like, I wonder how many people really remember the movie Slapshot. I mean, for me, it's such a great movie. And hockey fans, you'd think, but there's a lot of non-hockey fans going to Kraken games, but the crowd reacted great to it.
That's amazing, man. I love that. And how old is the movie?
Oh, it's the 70s. Man.
Yeah, it was
that's
super
right. Yeah.
old.
So the fact that he's still with us, and the fact that he lives in our area, I mean, how do you not have him do it? So it's I'm glad he reached out, because obviously they were unaware. Because if they were aware, since you said they were playing the videos in the first place, they would have reached out to him.
The videos were being played because they were aware. That was like the slow introduction of him from the beginning of the season.
Oh, so they knew this was all a plan.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
That's what it seems like, yeah. So they started playing the videos to see, I think, how it would go in the arena, and it was going very well, so they brought him in. Now he's there at the games.
Nice.
Oh, wow. These guys, I got to give the Kraken credit, man. They have a method to their madness.
And he did the national anthems. And hearing both of those, both the Canadian and the American national anthems on organ is really cool. Like, I'd never heard that before, like that I remember. So it was fantastic.
What a fun thing, man. It's just such a random but fun thing to add to this, to what's going on with the team.
Well, I mean, look, we need some fun.
Losing.
Yeah, exactly. We need a lot of fun stories, people saving other people's lives, and slapshot organists, as opposed to the wins and the losses that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Or maybe just the losses. Well, we did see a win as the Seahawks scored 51 points. And that should have been enough to beat the Detroit Lions, and it was in their final home game of the season. We're going to recap the whole thing with the host of Mitch Unfiltered. Yes, our buddy Mitch Levy joins us at 7:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
New on Curiosity Stream. Are we close to building machines that are almost human? And can new technology give us superpowers? Find out on Super Sapiens. And in 1919, a British composer wrote the longest and most complex symphony in history. Conductors tried to perform it, but failed, declaring it cursed. Now a group of musicians will attempt the impossible, if they dare, on Curse of the Gothic Symphony. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle.
BJ, huge win for the Seahawks, undefeated in 2022, so it's very cool to get to chat with our good friend, the host of Mitch Unfiltered, about the game. Please welcome to the show, Mitch Levy.
Happy New Year, boys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mitch.
Oh, my goodness gracious. They won a football game yesterday. How about that?
I'm shocked. I wasn't sure. It was a nail biter. Would they be able to beat a two-win team? That's where we are, Mitch. Can they beat a two-win team? The big question on our minds. And the answer was yes.
Unimportant info of the morning, boys. 51-29 was the final score. Has there ever been a 51-29 football game in the history of the National Football League?
See, I saw you tweeting about this, so I don't want to spoil it. So I'll leave it
I didn't see him tweet about this, so I'm going to say no. There never has. Otherwise, why would we be talking about it? Has there been?
Yes, there's been one 51-29 game. It happened in 2008 between the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. 51-29. The Saints and Drew Brees beat the Packers and Aaron Rodgers by that same final of 51. You don't see 51-29 every day, do you?
No, and I don't know. I think somebody said at the press conference yesterday if they had just scored another touchdown, they would have been the only team to have win 58-29 or something like that.
That could be. That could be.
What do they call it? Scoregami. I think is what they say.
Yeah.
That's right.
Scoregami.
That's right.
It was funny at the end of the game. People were booing the Seahawks because they didn't go for that touchdown at the very end of the game. Yeah, I was like, they're doing the classy thing. They're already up 51-29. But I think because of how exciting that pass was, and it looked like they were about to score, it was just like this anticlimactic ending to a otherwise beatdown of a game.
Well, they needed that. I guess they needed that for all of our sanity. They needed that, but unfortunately, the season has been lost, as BJ will tell you, a long time ago. And now the only intrigue that's left, was Mitch right many, many weeks ago when BJ looked at him with a furrowed eyebrow when he said, 9-8, a Seahawks 9-8 team will still get in the playoffs. We've got 1 week to go, and I think there's a very real chance that had the Seahawks finished at 9-8, they would be in the playoffs in 2022 for whatever that does for you.
Why you got to do us like that, Mitch?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, it's you still there's still a chance you won't be right, Mitch. But yeah, I was looking at that yesterday, looking at the people in the hunt and looking at the wild card chase, and I'm thinking, oh boy, Mitch needs things to go a certain way for 9-8 to get in.
Well, as of today, I guess 2 9-7 teams would make the NFC playoffs, and they would be the Eagles and the 49ers.
Which we never. Who would have thought the Eagles? By the way, that's the shocker to me.
They've come back to life in Philadelphia. But remember, the Niners, two things about the Niners who would be in the playoffs as of today. The Niners have to play the Rams this week to finish out the season, and that very well could mean that they'll finish 9-8, and the Seahawks beat the Niners twice.
Yeah.
So they would own the tiebreaker against the Niners. So we'll talk about it next Monday, but there's a real chance that that a 9-8 Seahawks team would have made the playoffs for whatever that means. But the intrigue, it just is killing Seahawks fans. Now what, guys? What are you doing? What are you doing with Pete Carroll? Yeah. What are you doing with Russell Wilson? What are you doing with John Schneider? What are you doing, guys?
I feel like they fixed everything. We just come back with everybody again, right?
Stop it.
Yeah. Ticker's kicking in between the uprights. DK's getting targeted. I mean, everything's good. Rashad Penny's a star running back.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He's that ends well.
Yeah, he's a star running back in his last season and going to be a free agent. Perfect time for him to be a star running back. Of course, I love they showed that stat, Mitch. I mean, as much as, look, I love to see the kid Penny have good games, but they showed this is what he's done in his last 4 games, and he had like 39 yards against the Rams, and then every other team was a bum. I mean, it was just like, he's done well, and he said nice things about the O-line, but we're not really, he wasn't playing world beaters when he's getting those yards.
I think the Rashad Penny story is going to be very interesting this offseason. I don't think it'll be as interesting as the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, John Schneider saga and some of the rumors that we're all hearing now, what's happening behind closed doors. There's lots of things out there floating around about Jody Allen and who's buddying up to Jody Allen and who's not. And are the two guys, John and Pete, still simpatico the way they were all these years? But the Rashad Penny story, BJ, is interesting from a couple of standpoints, couple of layers. Number one, I would say this about him. I never thought much of him as a running back or as certainly no one's thought much of him as a durable piece in the National Football League because the guy is just always perennially hurt. Remember C.J. Procise, kind of a similar type of career as C.J. Procise. But I will say this, he deserves a lot of credit for the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, maybe the number 1 running back in the NFL in the last, at least in the top 2 or 3 running backs in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So he deserves credit for that. But what will happen? I mean, the NFL's an interesting bird. They don't value running backs. So we know that. Running backs don't get big contracts anymore in free agency during the offseason. But it only takes one. Will there be a team that looks at Rashad Penny and says, "Oh my God, look at him the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's going to be a bargain base. He's going to be a bargain basement deal on the. Let's go give him maybe not huge money, but good money, and make him our starting marquee running back, our premier running back." And I think that team that does that, now Seattle won't do that. John Schneider or whoever it is that's the GM of the Seahawks is not going to make Rashad Penny their featured back next year. I don't think that will happen. Will they try to get him back on a cheap deal to be a yin and yang type of thing with either Chris Carson or somebody else that they bring in? Maybe. But if that one team out there, whoever it is, pick a team, says, "Oh my God, Rashad Penny the last 4 or 5 weeks is the leading running back in the NFL, and we can get him for fairly cheap and make him our featured back," if that team does it they are going to be terribly sorry in about week 3 of next year's season when he can't get there. He is not able to stay durable, I don't believe, through an NFL season, regardless of how he looks these last.
But wouldn't that be the ultimate kick in the ding if he does leave and then he ends up having like an incredible season with someone else? We've been waiting all this
watching
time.
That for years, whether it's the Mariners or how many times have we watched former Mariners go?
Well, and here's
somewhere else.
You're right. And here's the thing, though. I mean, an O-line. You know what I mean? The kid, look, when they can open up gaps, the kid can run through them. I mean, we're seeing that. And if he goes anywhere where they have a better O-line, maybe he will have a decent season. Maybe maybe he won't be as banged around as he is, and maybe he'll stay a little healthier. But we don't have an O-line. And even though he wants to give credit to the O-line, you're playing the Lions, who are pretty much last in everything. And you look at his stats, like I said, he didn't do much against the Rams because, the Rams are a good team. And, so, I mean...
I think it's more than just about the O-line. I think he's running very well. If you kind of explore like yesterday's game and you watch him closely, see some cutbacks, he's seeing some things, he's hitting some holes, he's breaking some tackles. It's more than just the O-line. He has played tremendous football, but I just don't trust him as far as I can throw him. That he can get through. Now he has in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but he just is an injury waiting to happen. There is just no way that Rashad Penny can convince me that he can be somebody's featured running back. But then the question is, you talk about the O-line and you talk about all the things that the Seahawks are facing this offseason, and maybe you want to wait till next Monday when the season's over to talk about those things. We can go wherever you guys want.
No, let's do it now. Let's figure out who stays and who goes.
Do you think anything changes after the Cardinals game? Do you think, as far as our opinions, do you think 1 week does actually make a difference?
Oh, no, I don't think, well, not for me. Yeah. I think that it'd be a terrible mistake to look at the last couple of games and say, we've changed our mind a couple things. The first thing that you start with is the obvious. What's going to happen with Pete Carroll and Jody Allen? What's going to happen with John Schneider? And I think you wait on Russell Wilson because I think it's pretty clear that you've got to know who's the brass before you make your bets on Russell Wilson. The reason that Russell Wilson wasn't traded last offseason, there's probably a couple of reasons. Let me tell you the biggest reason why Russell Wilson was here for this year, and that's Pete Carroll. I think that John Schneider and Pete Carroll, because they're at different places in their careers, would do different things with Russell Wilson. Does Pete Carroll want to start all over and go looking for a quarterback at his age? I don't think so. I don't think Pete Carroll was of the mindset last offseason to allow John Schneider to go get draft choices for Russell Wilson. So now here we are a year later. Russell Wilson, does he want to play here? I believe he's open to continuing his career here. Other people don't believe that. I think he's open to it. But the big question for Russell Wilson is Pete Carroll going to be here? If Pete Carroll is going to be removed or is going to walk away or Jody Allen's going to go in a different direction, well, now John Schneider, assuming that he stays, John Schneider would have essentially the ability to do as he pleases with Russell Wilson. I think at that point it becomes much a much bigger possibility, a much greater possibility that they would trade Russell Wilson if Pete Carroll's not here next year. If Pete Carroll remains here, then you've got to get Pete Carroll to sign off on a Russell Wilson trade. And Pete Carroll's going to ask the natural first question that a lot of Seahawks fans are going to ask, which is, okay, if we trade Russell Wilson for 3 number-1 draft choices, 3 first-round draft choices, who's our quarterback? Are you giving me a team with no There's no quarterback in the draft that I'm excited about. This is him talking. There's no quarterback in the draft. Are we getting Aaron Rodgers here from Green Bay? Who are we going to the gate with next year?
What about that guy on the Lions? He looked really good. He was passing to the Seahawks phenomenally.
Yeah, he really was. That's a good point. Yeah, I think we should get that guy.
Gosh. So you've got that. And then the other question that's been asked already the last several weeks, and it's going to be asked as long as Pete Carroll is here. It's being asked of Pete Carroll is what kind of is it a startup? Is it a tear down? Do we have to remodel everything? Can we just fill the holes with what we got this offseason? And that's a question that they've got to answer over there. Are they ready to go back to the season with what they've got, the majority of what they've got now, or do they have to is this a tear down? That's the question. And I think the answer to that lies in a few different questions. The first thing that I would ask, and we did a YouTube thing this morning or late last night. The thing that I would ask is, okay, how many young Seahawks players that you have under club control contractually are you excited about? How many guys? There's 20. How many starters are there? There's 11 on offense and 11 on defense, right? That's 22. Add the defensive line who rotates all the time. Add 3 or 4 guys. That's 26. Add a tight end. That's 27. Add a second running back. That's 28. Add a third receiver. There's probably 30 guys, right? 30 main offensive and defensive guys that play each week. How many of those 30 are young, under control Seahawks players that you can be excited about? And I think the answer is pretty clear. You've got Darrell Taylor, the defensive end / linebacker, who's young and aggressive and making plays. I think Seahawks fans are excited with his first full year. You agree with that or disagree with that? I saw
people are digging Taylor.
Okay, so you like Darrell Taylor. I think you like Jordan Brooks.
Yes. Yeah.
The linebacker who's running around making plays, right? That was a good draft choice. He's under club control. He's young. You're excited about him. I think in a less marquee position, they have a guard named Damian Lewis, who is under club control and has been a really good guard since he's come out. And I think you put DK Metcalf in that group. DK Metcalf, I know that BJ's going to start with me on trading DK Metcalf and all that stuff. But I think in terms of good young players under club control, you'd have to include DK Metcalf. After you get to those 4 guys, we're talking about 30 players. I can only come up with those 4. Now, some people would say, what about Trey Brown, that young corner? He played like 2 games. He was okay in those 2 games, then got hurt. I'm not saying I'm down on him, but I don't think you can include Trey Brown on this list. So you've got 4 out of 30. Now, if you went NFL team by NFL team and you asked the same question of the other 31 teams, how many young players do you have under club control for next year that you're excited about? My guess is that all the other teams would have 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. Very few would have only 4 guys of the 30 that are young and that you're excited about. So I ask you the question, how close are you? And what kind of a rebuild is this if you only have 4 young guys that you're excited about over the 30 guys that are going to play on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a team that's gearing up for the playoffs. If they've only got 4 dudes that they're really excited about, you're right.
I'm talking about 4 young guys.
Yeah.
The building blocks. Those are the building blocks of your team. So then you got to ask yourself the question: what about Bobby Wagner?
I think that's the one right there. I think that's the guy that won't be here next year.
Well, What about you asked a question 2 weeks ago about DK Metcalf. Do you want to trade DK Metcalf?
After Antonio Brown, DK looks a lot better to me. After what I saw from Antonio, I will give, I would have give DK a little bit of a pass after what I just saw with Antonio Brown.
He just takes his shirt off during the combine. He doesn't take them off during the games. That's a very good point.
And I saw DK in an interview, and he was very mature and very poised. And I thought, all right, you know what? He's younger than Brown, and so.
And the texter brought up a good point. I noticed it even when they were talking yesterday during the game that I didn't even think about. But apparently, DK has been dealing with some foot and back issues for
the whole year,
and he hasn't been able to practice a lot, and that's got to have an impact on the rhythm between Russ's broken finger and him dealing with his issues with his foot and his back. I mean, that you don't really think about it, but that has to have a lot to do with the chemistry of them.
I think that people look, if you want to trade DK Metcalf, you can get something good for him. But by the way, DK Metcalf is at the stage of his career now after this coming week's game where he can renegotiate. He's going to ask to renegotiate his deal. And he's going to ask, we talked about it last night, he is going to ask for, at minimum, 5 years, $100 million. Amari Cooper of the Dallas Cowboys is on a 5-year, $100 million contract. Well, his new agent, DK Metcalf's new agent, is going to start right there. So it is going to be very expensive to bring him back. But what I would say to you, Miggsy, about the comment about his back and his foot and so forth, the guy's got 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's got 12 touchdowns with one game to go. There's not a lot of receivers who got 12. And I know he hasn't caught a lot of balls and his yards are down, but his quarterback was out for 3 or 4 weeks, and then his quarterback wasn't very good for the next 3 or 4 weeks. They've struggled to protect the quarterback. For everybody to be down on and I understand he gets a little this and a little why, go back and look at all the great wide receivers. Find me 5 great wide receivers who didn't have questionable attitudes a little bit here. They got a little grumpy and
Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, that guy.
Doug Baldwin.
That Doug Baldwin guy was nothing but trouble.
Throw water on him. Yeah. So I'm not concerned about DK Metcalf and his productivity. He'll be fine. They got to have a quarterback to throw the ball to him. That's for sure.
You're absolutely right, and that's the problem. Someone's got to go, Mitch. I mean, if we only got 4 young guys that we really care about, which means we got to restock. Somebody's got to go, and it's crazy to get rid of Russell Wilson. If they get rid of Russell Wilson, they're insane. It really is crazy because...
Well, hold on a second. Before you say that, and I know you guys got to run, and you might be right. It's crazy to get rid of Russell Wilson. Maybe it is crazy to get rid of Russell Wilson. But if you've got 4 guys, 4 young players that you're excited about out of 30, and you want to add to that, the best way to add to that is by what? First-round draft choices. That's how you get young guys at affordable rates. If people are calling you, if the New Orleans Saints are calling you, or if the New York Giants, BJ, call you and say, we've got numbers 4 and 5 in this year's draft, numbers 4 and 5. We'll give you those 2 plus another one next year, number 1 draft choice. I'm not saying you do it. But you got to think hard. If your list is only 4 guys and you're getting offered the 4th overall pick this year, and if I told you could have the number 1 left tackle in the draft and the number 1 shutdown corner in the draft this year, if you're willing to peddle Russell Wilson, you got to. That's going to be your. How are you getting good young players if you're not bringing in number 1 draft choices? That's my question.
I guess what you have to find out, Mitch, is how many years do you think Russell's got left being a great quarterback, and how much can we get for DK? We're not going to get as much for DK, but can we get close? Maybe we only get 2 draft picks for DK of that caliber you're talking about. I don't want to get rid of the dude, but like you said, someone's got to go, and something's got to give. And they've got to, I just getting rid of Russell at that point. You're saying we're resetting the whole team. I mean, you're done at that point because Russell. Not only is he the face of the franchise and a great leader and a great guy of the community, and one of the biggest stars of the NFL. You're done. You're rebuilding. You're just like whatever. And at that point,
unless you get another quarterback.
I mean, yeah, but who are you going to get? Like you said, nobody in the draft you care about, and who's in the league? I mean, I don't know. I guess there's the possibility of getting an Aaron Rodgers. I hear that he might be on his way out, but still,
or Deshaun Watson, who's very polarizing, obviously, but that's something that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's it's a rebuild either way. You know, if you get Aaron Rodgers, you know, you're not getting him for 10 years. You know, he's just a sort of
so what if I told you that Russell Wilson will return to Russell Wilson form? That's the first question.
Okay.
He still hasn't done that. And he's going to play very good to great football for the next 5 years, even though I think there's some question, which maybe we can talk about next week, about him having to change his style because he's not running as much, he's not escaping as much.
Yeah.
He's going to have to throw the ball away to be able to be. But let's assume I told you that Russell Wilson can remain a Seahawk for 3 to 5 years and play at least very good football, okay? And I told you that was going to be good enough for 8-9 or 9-8 every single year because you don't have young players around him. We just talked about it, right? You're not going to have the draft choices. So if I told you, okay, very good Russell Wilson next 5 years, and the next 5 years your records are 8-9, 8-9, 9-8, 8-9, and 8-9 because you don't have all the parts around him because you don't have draft choices. Is that what you want to sign up for?
No, that's not.
Or do you want to look at the opportunity to get new young players? Yeah, these are tough decisions.
These are tough. I'm glad that Jody's not. I'm glad Jody's not calling me, asking for advice. I don't think I could help her out.
Let me tell you something. All of us are happy that Jody's not calling you and asking for advice.
But what do we have to talk? I mean,
Seahawks world is happy that Jody Allen's not calling you and asking for advice.
Well, remember, I'm the first guy that said I really do believe DK Metcalf. That's going to be the shocker. I think that's how it's going to go. No Bobby Wagner. As much I love the guy, but I think they're probably going to either he's going to go, they're going to let him go, and I really think that DK Metcalf might be gone. That's my big prediction. I'm sticking to it, Mitch.
I don't think it's the shocker that you suggested. Is it? They have to decide on a new contract first on him. Do they want to give him Amari Cooper money? They want to give him top wide receiver money. He is going to ask, and he's going to get from somebody a really big contract.
Yeah.
Are the Seahawks in a position to give it to him? That's the question. So we'll see.
All right. Well,
next week, let's see how they do against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Let's see how they do against the Cardinals next.
That's our Super Bowl right there. I mean, it is. I mean, you know, if we can keep them from getting first place, I mean, which is what wouldn't we love to do that, to be able to keep a team from getting something? That's a big win if you can do it. So, I guess. I don't know.
She's not in on a big parade if we win that game, huh, Mitch?
That's right. That's our Super Bowl right there. Yeah, you know what? The Rams are rooting. At least the Rams are rooting for us, aren't they? The Rams are.
Parades. No parades.
All right, Mitch
We'll talk
Unfiltered.
next Monday. Happy New Year, guys.
Check out the latest episode to drop today at MitchUnfiltered.com.
The YouTube episode that dropped today. Go to Mitch Unfiltered on YouTube.
We finally took a little break. So we don't have a new show this morning. But next Monday we'll have a new episode, and we did a little YouTube thing. And we took a New Year's break. That's all. No
so you're a YouTube star now? When did that happen?
Exclusive Mitch Levy with BJ and Miggs on KISW. The Rock.
Oh, look at this. I'm excited.
There you go. There you go.
All right, MitchUnfiltered.com. You can find out whatever you need to know there. This was a tough New Year's break, a holiday break, because we lost some people, including Betty White, who sadly passed away a few days ago, and many celebrities have paid tribute to her, including an odd one from O.J. Simpson. Nice. You'll hear from Juice at 7:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Travis, if you're upside down in your mortgage, should you continue to make the payment?
Continuing to pay your mortgage or not is a complex decision because you're going to have to pay to live somewhere. You're going to have a housing payment. So continuing to make your house payment really depends on several factors. One is whether or not you have a second mortgage. The second one is how affordable your ongoing monthly mortgage payment is. Another issue is whether your mortgage is adjustable and you're facing an increase in your mortgage payments later on when interest rates go up. If you do have a second mortgage in this economy with the housing prices being down, oftentimes we can take off or strip off that second mortgage in a Chapter 13 case so that you'd only have the first mortgage to continue to pay.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at ChooseTheRightChapter.com. That's ChooseTheRightChapter.com. And thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
New on Curiosity Stream, the Arctic, frigid, desolate, unforgiving. And without canine companions, early humans never stood a chance. Discover how man and dog learned to thrive together where neither could survive alone in Ice Dogs. Plus,
why would a Nazi major be protecting and saving Jews?
Against orders, against time, the SS Major that sheltered and saved thousands of Jews. It's the Good Nazi. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.